welcome back to another official Junky Spot review. Today I have someone super duper special with me today. I have the ABS Lilly and the ABS Rose. Both are brand new friends to the Hujoo company. It's actually a collaboration doll between Hujoo and Fall In Doll. They have different sculpts for the heads. This head sculpt right here is the ABS Hujoo Lilly. And then the one that I have on the body here is the Fallen Doll Rose. So I'm really excited to do this review for many reasons. One, this is Hujoo's first USD size doll that they've released that is an actual USD or 1/6 scale doll. Very interesting designs and concepts that are put into these dolls since they have almost like a gear type system inside of them. Without further ado, let me go ahead and give you all some measurements for this 1/6 scale sized doll. So these girls are going to take a 6 to 7 inch wig. They're 27 centimeters in height. Their chest circumference is at 12 centimeters. Their waist is at 10.5 centimeters. Their hips are at 14 centimeters. And their feet are going to be a 3.8 centimeter size. So our eyes that these dolls are going to use, this one right here, which is the Rose, she takes a 14 millimeter eye. This one right here, which is our Lilly, takes an 18 millimeter eye. Like I was mentioning before, key differences between these 24 to 26 centimeter size dolls are that these are kind of engineered a little bit more solidly. And when I say that, I mean that there's more ABS that's incorporated into the model. If you're looking at like a Hujoo Berry or you're looking at Hujoo Wings, the material that's cast inside of their head is a tad bit thinner than what we have here. So this, you can see that it's actually a lot thicker. They cast it a lot thicker here. So I mean, you have more kind of like a solid structure to it. And that's going to be throughout the body. The whole body is made that way. So it's not cast thinly at all. It feels solid, like as if you were to pick up a resin doll. Other advantages to ABS dolls are that they're a little bit more durable. You're not going to have to worry about, you know, if you drop it, it's going to crack or chip. Another cool thing that I've heard also is that when it comes to yellowing, these dolls, since they're made out of ABS, really don't do that. I imagine though that perhaps over like a long, way longer than that of, you know, resin dolls, you might see some coloration, but I mean, I don't think you'll be seeing it anytime soon. I don't think oxidation or anything like that affects these dolls as much as it does resin dolls, for sure. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at these dolls. So I have the Hujoo Lilly that I'll kind of take a look at first because it's just the head that I have. They both use the same USD size body. Just so you can get a closer, you know, look at the Lilly head. So as you can see, she's got a cute little nose. She's got a cute little lip. Pretty nice profile there, not too strong. She's got like almond shaped eyes. She's got some good definition right here for her, where her eyebrows should be placed. Like all of our other Hujoo dolls, you have a peg system in which you have to match the pegs to close it, and then to open it up you're going to have to wiggle it back and forth to open up your dolly. Once again, don't stress out. You see that one peg is taller than the other peg. There's, you know, nothing wrong with the doll. It's not broken. That's just how it is. So this little silicone device is, the little mechanism that you use for the eyes. You can get stem eyes. That's the little eyeballs that have a little point sticking out of them. I recommend using those with these. That way, when you put it in, the stem is sticking out a little bit out here, and that way you can shift it around and move it about. So that's what this one has inside of its head. That's what these two holes here are for. When it has the holes inside of our silicone piece, they match up, and you put them in right here. And there's a little hole down here that has a peg sticking out right here at the bottom of the head that you push that one into. So when you have your eyes in, you push this into the head and it'll keep your eyes in place, and if you want to make adjustments instead of having to remove putty or do anything like that, you can just move the stem around, kind of like a video game controller type thing. That's kind of the mechanics for the head. You'll see on the back of our Lilly here, we have the Hujoo stamp on the back. And to put the head back on, you match up your pegs, and then you close it up tight. So this is our rose. This is the, I guess, collaboration head for the Fallen doll. You'll notice on the back of the rose head, you have the Fallen doll logo back here. Like I mentioned with the Hujoo heads, this one also is going to work off of pegs, so you kind of have to pry it open a little bit, wiggle it back and forth, and then you'll get it open. So you can see this one is already strung inside since this one's attached to the body. Just like our other head that we have over here, it has the 2 large pegs up here. This one they decided to put putty inside of it. They didn't have the other silicone piece into it, but you can still, I mean, this shows you can still use putties if you want to put in your eyes, but they do have that other piece that you can use as well and utilize it. The elastic that is strung and shown up here inside of the head are actually for the legs. The legs it's a loop of elastic that goes all the way down to the body. It comes all this way back up, and it's on this side here. So if you imagine like a big long rubber band, it's just bent upwards and fed through the top of the head, and that's why we have these 2 strings here. The arms are actually just one loop of elastic going side to side this way. You can actually see inside there, you can see there's the knot in there. That's for the elastic for the arms, because it's just looped going this way, kind of horizontally this way. So if you're going to want to remove the heads off of these dolls, I highly recommend you get some type of stopper, meaning that when you pull off these loops of elastic, you join them together as one, and you could get like, you know, a chopstick or something, and just kind of when you're taking it off, put it under here to catch the elastic here, put it through, and that way when you take off these 2 here, you're not going to risk like, whoa, it's all going to shoot out and I don't have my elastic anymore. So this is a closer look of the rose head, and she's got some eyes in right now. Another really cute little profile here. Our range of movement for our head, she can look side to side. She can also look up very nicely. She can look down to a certain extent. She can tilt her head a little bit from side to side. Inside of her arm here, you'll see it looks almost like a flower, but it's kind of like the gears that we're used to seeing in our other Hujoo dolls, but they have like a little peg that's sticking out of the arm piece right here, that little notch on top, and that kind of helps it kind of lock in whatever position that you're going to have as far as movement goes for our arm when moving it up and down and all around and whatnot. The notches also down here will help it if you have the arm extend out this way. It locks it out. The elbows are a little bit different. They incorporated kind of almost that, you know, peanut piece that you see a lot in some of the other resin dolls, to where it's, if you separate the arm, it's like a floating piece that's here. So here's a closer look at that piece in the middle. This piece, of course, it'll enable you to snap, you know, bend the arm. It'll do like a 90-degree angle that way. You can do it from this point here, or you can bend it twice, and that way it kind of folds in this way as well. So that enables her to touch her face that way. The wrist is another interesting piece that they have. Once again, you can see they actually incorporated kind of like a hook here for your elastic if you needed to undo that. Maybe you want to paint the hands and take it off. You can take that off easily. Just make sure you have a stopper for your elastic. Something really interesting that we kind of discovered was that if you have the wrist, and I'm not quite sure if it was engineered to be like this, but you can actually move the wrist down and it hinges itself right here, and it locks the hand. It'll lock the wrist in this position here, which I don't know if it was meant to do that, but it's a really pleasant surprise if, you know, they really did intend it. If they didn't, I mean, kudos to them, because, you know, you can actually do that. It's pretty cool. You can lock the wrist downwards that way, and it keeps that hand position that way, and it just snaps right back when you're done. but it has a good range of mobility for the hand. Very, very cute little itty bitty hands that they crafted for her. I think they're pretty cute. Alrighty, so moving on to the torso. It's a two-part torso system, essentially. You have this upper piece right here, and then the lower, you know, where our hips are located. It's just a piece that, you know, that can pop, it can move back, forward. It's kind of standard. A lot of dolls sometimes have this kind of similar system to them, but it does enable you to, you know, move it around and do different kind of positions and whatnot for our torso here. So for our hips down here, where our like swiveling thigh joint is, it's a little bit different. I mean, they incorporated some of the things that Hujoo has and they kind of tweaked it a bit. But basically, just like our other Hujoo like 24 centimeter dolls, there's a way for it to sit and a way for it to stand. And the way you know that it's sitting or standing is by looking at this piece right here. If this is moved to the back where, you know, its bottom is, you know it's going to be a standing position for it. If you want it to sit, this part right here, this piece right here is going to come to the front. And I'll slide this one over too. To not sitting. This is like super duper key because I know some people are like, oh, the legs are all weird and messed up on my doll. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, but it does lock in a lot better. If it's sitting, this part will be facing the front, and if it's going to be standing, these crevices will be facing the back. So another thing that you're kind of noticing, because my legs are kind of going all wonky because I'm kind of switching back and forth, is that inside here we have another one of those ridges gear type system thing put into place. That way your swiveling thigh joint isn't just swiveling and it doesn't have any traction. You have a little extra piece of ABS that's kind of like sticking out right here, and that will move along the grooves that are here. You can actually hear it kind of click. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it clicks, so that way if you do have it facing this way and she's sitting, it's going to keep her leg this way. If you flip over this part back here and then flip this to the front, it's going to lock her for standing. So I mean, it's got mechanics to it. It's not just kind of like, you know, you're run-of-the-mill, just super duper simple, this is what it is standing and sitting. It's got mechanics to it so it can be more solid when it's sitting or standing. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's a really interesting design to throw in there when it comes to, you know, dolls and mobility and trying to make adjustments so they can, you know, be more solid in what they're doing. So the knee joints are going to be very similar to that of our elbows. It has, if you were to separate it out, an extra floating piece right here, that little peanutty looking piece that, you know, you can click it once and it'll bend the knee here. You can click it down here and it'll bend the knee down here. Or you can click it twice and it's going to have a whole bent effect like this. Now our feet is something super duper interesting. The movement and the range that they have is really, really nice as far as where you can put the feet, and you can point it out, you know, you can bring it up. If you separate it, of course it's got a floating piece just like it does in the wrists, which is this piece right here. And then it has another piece down here that has the hook for the elastic. Now the interesting thing that I was looking at yesterday that kind of was affecting it when I was trying to stand it and have it, you know, stand by itself, was that this piece on the foot down here, on the ball part, there's like an extra little piece of ABS that's sticking out, kind of like a little, you know, notch that's there, or whatever you want to call it. Inside of our foot here, you'll see that there's a little, you know, opening for where that little notch is supposed to be in. That little extra piece of ABS is supposed to fit in. If you don't have that aligned in a, you know, in that little hole, in that little special place, your foot is going to be off. So you do need to make sure that your parts, you know, are matched in the correct little gear areas. But depending on how you have that in there, it might affect your foot and what it looks like. So just keep that in mind, you know, if you're wondering, like, why is my foot getting all weird, you know, make sure that those pieces are aligned and in their right, correct spots. So this is the foot at kind of like a resting position. This is like bending it to the extreme, I guess, forward. This is putting it back. So I've actually had people ask me about, whenever they see their Hujoo dolls, what these little circles are. These are just like casting marks. I imagine if it truly bothers you, you could attempt to kind of like sand it off if you wanted to. I don't really notice it unless you're like this close looking at it. So I think that pretty much covers it for my review on the new collaboration of Hujoo and Fallen dolls. 1/6 scale dolls, or USD size dolls, the Rose and the Lily. If you want to see more about these awesome dolls, or if you want to know where you can purchase them, please move on over to the Junky Spot. Their website is listed right here, www.junkyspot.com. I also have it listed in the description bar below. I hope this video kind of helped if you were kind of interested in these dolls, or maybe if you wanted to see more about them. As always, have a fantastic and wonderful day, and I shall be seeing you all in another video very soon. Bye!